Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of At the Elephants. This week we are getting to know the cast and crew of Martin Sherman's Bent being performed in New York City in February. Details at the end of this clip. Get your tickets ASAP. I had a series of Skype interviews if you've been keeping up with us, and the one lovely person that we are talking to today is the lovely Mr. Alex Bodine. I don't know why that word works for me when it comes to Alex, but he is lovely. He's also super badass, and he's doing the fight choreography as well as producing this wonderful play with his fellow 2015 School of Drama classmates. We had an excellent chat the other day. I'd love to share it with you. Let's take a look.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you? It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. I don't think I've seen you since school, man.
Honestly, probably not.
Right? Got that West Coast vibe, dude. You got the whole West Coast look whenever you're ready. 100%. I'm gonna get you a surfboard. Swap it out for that nice sweater you got on right there.
I do miss San Diego weather.
Yeah,
It
right?
was really, really nice.
Oh, it's one of the best things.
Adjust.
Oh, it's okay. I'll just cut that out.
We're-
Oh, I know you're going,
yeah, I
going.
think we're going.
It's fine. It's fine. Isn't she great?
She's so good.
She's
Oh
so
my
good.
God, she's so good.
I'm sure she can hear me. I don't care. She was, and I were just talking about, she was like, I don't know, producing. And I was like, you seem dope at it. So,
She is dope at it. I mean, 100%. She's got the scheduling brain that I wish I had.
right.
You know?
Absolutely. No, I am constantly, it's been my thing since I was in directing school. Just like, I need a left brain companion. Like when I'm really in it, you know what I mean? I need to go full right brain, and then I need someone who's like, it's time to, and I'm like, shut up, but good idea, good point.
It's got 30 seconds.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm also that guy who's like, in Mary's class, right, at 6:01, like, are we fucking still? Like, this is crazy. We have
Exactly.
dinner. Like,
Exactly.
I'm both guys, only when it works for me, right? So this is so exciting, man. You're involved in this production that you were not involved in the first round, right? The 2015. What did you do for them then?
That's right. I mean, I only watched Bent the first time around.
Right.
And it was right before we went into Angels in America,
Sure.
the first time we did it at school. And I thought, holy cow, what incredible theater we're getting to do this semester, just left and right.
Yeah. It was
It,
a
it, it-
it was a great year, honestly.
yeah.
Uh,
Were you able to see some of those shows?
I saw Bent.
That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Awesome.
saw Bent. Think I saw Cock. I saw Angels in America. I saw a lot of stuff. I was there that year,
That's right.
teaching in High Point, and yeah, that was one of the reasons why when this came across my field of social media, and they were like, "We're doing this play again," I was like, "That is a good fucking idea," because I don't always catch stuff, but that one I caught, and it was quite good, and I'm very excited for you guys to do it again. One of the things I was talking about before was when I was in scene design class for directing, and we would go take our design classes in DMP.
Hmm.
In scene design with Howard Jones, Bent was like our first develop a full ground plan assignment. We did some like shadow boxes, and we did everything for that. That was our first. I think maybe it was a final of some kind. I'm struggling to remember, but we all had to come up with it. And of course, I read it. I didn't like watch the movie or anything like that.
Right.
And then I designed it, and that was also one of my first times like designing a play of any kind without seeing anything tangible. I was
Right.
just reading it and then trying to develop a fucking set off of what I read. And I was telling them I didn't get the comedy at all when I read it. Like, I didn't think it was very
Oh,
funny. Like, I was like, it's really dark, man. Like, this is tough. But I did like the play.
it's so zesty. It's so spicy.
That is
Like,
a great way to put it.
uh, and it goes with so much of literature that falls into like gay literature specifically is the layer of humor that is always there because it's a lens of him honestly coping with the world.
Right.
Yeah.
That has been a theme in these conversations so far, and I totally love that. I love the fact that we've been talking about why here, why now, and I definitely want to get your take on that because that's obviously one of the most important things with theater. And I think I'll make a point about that too briefly on why I think that's so important, because you're doing something that has already been done. That is almost always the case with theater. There is always original works. There's always new stuff,
Right.
but theater is taking a script that was written likely by someone else at another time and then going, let's us do that. And so then it's like, why'd you pick that one? It's easy to say why here, why now with a movie because you're like, well, it doesn't exist yet and we think it should. That's why. I don't want to delete that question from that creative world because it's definitely part of it. But it makes a little more sense. It's like, why here, why now? I just finished the script, asshole. That's why we're doing it. But with theater, it's like, okay, you're doing Bent. Why not do Angels in America? Why not do Cock? Why not do one of these other plays? And we've been talking about how obviously there's so much universal truth in identity and identity politics and how all that fits in. So as someone who is coming into this show, loving the first production but not being involved in it, when you came into it, let's talk about how you got involved in the new production and then also what made you go, fuck yeah, other than the first one was dope. Like, what else were you like, we have to do this play now, you're right?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think the first time I saw this play, I thought, wow, I really want to do this play.
Like as an actor.
Well, as an actor, but also as a growing just producer of art, simply the mission of creating art has become so vital to who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been wearing so many different hats over the past 5 years since graduating, that I've really started to not feel as weird or like I'm not doing the thing that I went to school for, because I am. I went to school because I'm in love with theater, and it's become kind of my mission to always make theater that I think is worth being seen, especially specifically. And Bent's so worthy of that telling again and again and again and again, because it's a story about what is worthwhile love in the human experience, right? Or how can you own who you really are to make let me try this again.
Yeah, take your time.
I would say that this play is really like must be done always, but specifically right now, because to hear more people echo that story of like, people are not going to love you based on who you are, and that's still okay.
Yeah.
And the more times that message is repeated, I think it's just really good to hear that, especially when you're getting really entrenched, like just entrenched hatred that's just put into the system everywhere.
Right.
And it's like insidious hatred that people couldn't point at and say, oh, well, that's exclusive and that's targeted against me.
Right.
But still hits you in where you live,
Yeah, and I think it speaks a little bit to a fundamental truth of what's at the core of hate, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that is so relevant, and we could go, man, there's a billion plays going back hundreds of years that deal with this, but Bent does such a great job, and we were talking about kind of when you're doing theater now and you're not doing a 400-year-old play, you're kind of contributing to the argument of like, what are the new classics? Like, what are the plays that have come out more recently that we feel a responsibility to continue to keep going in the zeitgeist of like, no, this is an important piece of work. Like, you should keep fucking doing Angels in America. Like, you should keep doing Bent. Like, these things we need to establish as like the Hamlets and Romeo and Juliets of our time of like,
honestly,
and we were saying like you see those productions happening and someone's like, oh, well, I've never actually seen that, but I should go see it because it's Hamlet. It's like, you should go see it because it's Bent.
Right. And it's pretty recent. I mean,
right.
It's not a play from 300 years ago.
It's not even a
But
play
there's
from
going to become a
close to
day
the
where
time where it
is a
takes
play from
place.
300 years ago, and there's going to come a day when it is a play from 300 years ago.
Exactly right.
And the Holocaust is not going to be an event that is sitting on the current psyche any longer.
Right.
And it's not going to be this important historical play because it still is. It's a play that really shines a light on an untold part of history.
Yeah.
But I think to go further than that, you could approach this play 100 years from now and say, this is a play about when hate is institutionalized, how easy it is to hate yourself, and how much of a big journey you have to make to be able to overcome that
Right.
and love yourself and own who you are.
And
Which,
yeah, absolutely. It requires, in order to hate something or someone, you have to first dehumanize it, because it's not within our capacity as human beings to hate things that are also human. Like, it's inherently evolutionarily beneficial to trust your fellow human beings, because you're, at our core hunter-gatherer level, like, you're in it together against the fucking bears and wolves. Like,
Yes.
So we need to be like, person, cool. We're like, so that's built into us. So in order to hate, we've got to define you as not a human being.
as something as other. Yeah.
Exactly. And this play gets so deep into that world, and not just in sexuality, and not just in ethnicity, and that's what I love about the other side of this, right? Is because, we think, the genocide against the Jews. We should think that. That was not the only element at play when Germany sought to purify itself. They were trying to purify a lot of different things.
Well, they were trying to centralize power by classifying so many people as the other.
Right, exactly. Right. Which makes it easy for those people that do fall into that power structure that they were trying to create, of like, if you happen to be a straight, white, blue-eyed, blonde, landowning male, you get to be like, okay, well, if they say those people aren't real humans, then I can hate them. Like,
or they're dangerous.
Exactly, and they're a threat to it.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Exactly right. And it's interesting to me too, because obviously the play reveals what we would imagine is the truth, right? That they are not. But at the same time, it shows, and this is something I love so much about it, that when we go through these traumatic and stressful things as human beings, despite the time, despite the culture, we kind of deal with it the same way. Like, we have not changed much in 50, 100, 500 years, in that when someone,
years,
when
honestly.
Someone comes for us or something happens to us, we deal with it with humor. We deal with it with optimism, or we deal with it with desperation and a lack of those things. But I feel like often, and we've talked about this some with the other folks, like when we examine these time periods that are so full of tragedy, we find people were making jokes about it. People had senses of humor, because how else the fuck do you get through it? We like to imagine like everyone was just weeping for 15 years and everybody, you know what I mean? It was just this constant tragedy. We go Schindler's List and it's just like, but
it's the ugly beauty of drag. It's the ugly beauty of the underground Berlin cabaret scene.
Right.
I mean, you could probably go back forever and find examples of it. Like the Splinter Group examples of it, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. You're also doing some fight choreography for the show, is that right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do the fights for it.
What? Did I just remind you? That's what it felt like. You're like,
there's like
shit.
17 things on the list right now.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about that then really briefly. What are you doing for this show, man? Producer means so many things, and especially to people who are not producing, whether it's TV or film or music, theater, whatever. They're like, what the fuck is that? What does that mean? I watch TV shows, I watch the credits, and I'm like, there's an associate producer, an executive producer, and a regular producer, and a segment producer, and like, producer seems to mean everything. In this context, make it simple for us. What are you doing for Bent?
Sure. I guess I'm handling a lot of legal paperwork, which is a new experience for me. It's a pretty steep learning curve, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, for sure. That's what happens when you do something brand new, man.
Right. And a friend recently said to me, just put yourself in the way and like, you'll figure it out. Put
That
yourself in
sounds
the
like
way.
such a fun theater dork kind of thing to say. I love it. That's
Right,
amazing.
right.
Put
It's kind
yourself
of
in
how
the
I became
way.
an
It's
opera
fucking
for a little
smart as shit.
while.
It's really brilliant. Well, and you
It's
only have to
been
do
getting
it
people
first
excited
once.
about. Sorry.
I was just saying you only
Uh,
have to do it for the first time once.
exactly. Exactly. Um, and take really good notes on the things that don't work.
Absolutely key, man. Just pay attention. Don't repeat your mistakes. That's
Exactly.
in the world of producing stuff. And if anybody watching this gives a shit, and because that's what I do now, is I'm a TV producer, and
Mhm.
man, I think that is one of the most key things. People will forgive mistakes so easily the first and even second time. It's when you fuck
Yeah.
up the same thing for the third time that people are like, this guy sucks.
He's not learning.
Yeah. It's like, we'll totally
Or they're not
forgive,
learning.
like,
Yeah.
wow, you really, and you can eat shit hard those first couple times. You really can. And people are like, well, what do we want? He didn't know what he was doing. Like,
Right.
so, it's what it is. But it's when you show that you learn from it, people are immediately like, oh man, that guy's a great producer. He only
Yeah.
messed those things up one time.
So again, taking lots of notes,
Right.
but I guess also for this situation, we're getting people excited we're letting people know about the show,
Right.
and additionally, we're generating a lot of the overhead we're generating a lot of money for the overhead expenditure,
Right.
because ticket sales never cover anything in theater, so it's been taking a village and reaching out to those people who we think would really find this story and the people who are telling it worth their support. And we've
Right.
had so much support. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it really seems to be a campaign that's taken off. And, I said to Kira in one of the emails, it's just maybe my taste, but I contributed to the project because I was like, the identity behind this is just you guys. There was something about it not being like, one love to everybody. I really mean this. When you were trying to start something new, I support you.
Absolutely.
But when you say, we're going to start this new company, it's so big and it's such a big ask. And you feel like, I'm like, man, I don't know if I have it in me to help you build a company. Like,
Right.
that's a big ask from me, your supporter, who is maybe not even going to see it because I live in LA. Like, I want you to have a thing. But when you guys just said, hey, you remember that fucking play that you saw us do like 5 years ago and it was pretty awesome? We'd like
Yeah.
to do it with a little bit more money again and make it even more awesome. I'm like, cool. That sounds doable. I can give to that. Like that I can contribute to, because I trust the identities that are already established. I trust Alex. I trust
Right.
Josh. I trust Will. I trust Emma and Kira and everybody. Whereas when you say we're starting the, Geiger, Coulter, Bodine company, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Even if you named it after yourselves, I'm like, but what is that company and what am I supporting and what is the plan? And even when you lay out a big, long one, I'm like, I don't know. There's something about it. I can't even fully describe why it turns me off. But friends saying, this is us. We're going to do this play. Here's what the fucking play is. It's worth it. I'm like, I think so.
And honestly, that's where I've always approached making theater from, is it's got to be the project. It's
Yeah.
never been about it's never about anything else,
Well, because
right?
it's going to
And
be hard
we
to get anybody to
decided that
care
this
about
show,
anything else.
yeah, we decided that the show is so worthy that put a lot of hours in.
Right. But isn't
Yeah,
it great having
yeah,
something that you like don't mind putting all that time into?
yeah,
You're
it's
like,
great.
fuck, we only have 15 hours to work on this today. That sucks. It's like, I really wish we had 30. That's a great feeling, man, and it's rare, and it can be great to work on something that's big and established and has all this support, and you just get to come in and do your little role and have a good time. That's fun too, and it's nice if you get a little paycheck with that. That's cool.
Sure thing.
But why can't we go back and forth? Because the truth is like that security and that comfort is never going to come paired with projects like this. These kinds of projects that are special in this way are going to have to be done on a dime. They're going to have
Right.
to be done around other people's lives. But you can see that in the sweat equity that pays off, I think.
I think so too. I think that already, and the show hasn't even gone up, but like already in witnessing the first rehearsal,
Right.
that how much it's given back is just like breathe this new energy and life into seeing this thing into the next 2 weeks because it goes up 2 weeks from now.
I feel like you guys have planned it longer than you're actually going to be able to put it together.
Isn't that everything?
By like leaps and bounds. Anything good. Yes, Alex, I think you're right. 100%. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me, man. I'm really excited for you guys. I think this is going to be a really good show, and I'll have to have you on later to talk more about the fighting part.
That sounds awesome. It was good to see you, Rob.
Absolutely. It's good to see you too, buddy.
See ya.